Welcome to the Take Podcast, where we seek the news that isn't considered popular or relevant enough in today's media landscape, and some things that are. World news and topics from all continents. Yes, even Antarctica, ranging from environmental, culture, politics, history, and economics. With that being said, enjoy, and please feel free to reach out and keep this an interactive experience. Ladies and gentlemen, the Take Podcast is proud to announce the sponsorship of Garden State Pro Wrestling's second show, Thy Kingdom Come, August 27th at the Monroe Sports Center in Monroe, New Jersey. After a hot start with their inaugural show, Welcome to Eden, now available on Fight TV, they look to keep that momentum going with the start of the semifinal and final rounds of the Garden State Pro Wrestling Open Weight Tournament, with the dark horse and my overall pick of the tournament, the Poison Youth, Robert Martyr. Single matches consisting of New Jersey's very own, the Concrete Rose, Sunny Kiss. From Long Island, the Babe with the Power, Willow Nightingale. And making his New Jersey debut from across the pond in the UK, representing Revolution Pro Wrestling, is no other than a Rev Pro Cruiserweight Champion himself, Michael Oku. So if you're a fan of pro wrestling or looking for an entertaining Saturday night, click on the link in the show notes and be ready for one hell of a night. Welcome back to the Take Podcast with your host, Sean D. James. And on this week's episode, we're going to kick things off with Poland. Now, unlike last week's episode where I closed it out with the listener appreciation, we're going to open it up this week with that appreciation. Being that it revolves around current world affairs, specifically that of the Russian-Ukrainian war. So without further ado, let's dive on in. Officially, the Republic of Poland, but more commonly referred to as Poland, was founded in 922. I'll be honest, it was a little difficult not to say 1922. With that one digit missing, you gotta acknowledge there's only three digits there. It's like, oh, okay. When researching the older European countries, you realize a lot of stuff goes back very far. Now, during this time, there were two tribes, the Poline and the Wyline. While the Poline had based themselves around the fortified settlement of Gniezno, the Wyline chose to live near Krakow, and by doing so, they attempted to expand to bring other tribes under their control. The thing is, the Wyline eventually fell under the control of the great Moraval kingdom. So you said, I'm going to expand, we're going to bring all the small tribes under us, make ourselves bigger. I got it. But when you do such and turn around just to end up to fall under somebody else's territory, under their reign, it's like, shit. Wow. Looking back, we could do a couple things better. Yeah, better or differently. If it didn't turn out to, us being ruled by somebody else, I think it would have been better. Yeah, good point, good point. The funny thing about this is this great Moraval kingdom, well, they themselves fell as they were destroyed by the Hungarian invasions of the early 10th century. So the people who conquered us got conquered. Well, damn, I guess we were going to take a L at some point, right? Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, got it. So after the Hungarian invasions in the 10th century, a man by the name of Mishko I became the new ruler of those lands, and as such, he ended up becoming the first Pauline to be mentioned in written records. Now, that written record shit, that's a different level, man. That's one for me. It always goes by the statement of to the victor goes the spoils, and only the winners write history. Like to be the first one they wrote in the record. It's like, yeah, there was leaders before me. There was tribe people and everything, but I'm the one who got his name put in those books. Early 10th century. That's what's up, right? Yeah, yeah, I'm that guy who you in 2022 are talking about. Yep. So the victor goes to spoils. Now his rule lasted all the way until his death in 992 at the age of 62. That's a that's a good length to live. You ruled over some people. I mean, fuck, you live to 62 during that time period. Good on you, my guy. And the beauty of it is, he was later succeeded by his son, Boleslaw. So not only did you die while in charge, but you had a son to take over. One of three. That's pretty good during that time period. Three heirs to choose from. Yeah. Now jumping forward a couple hundred years, in the mid 1500s, a united Poland was considered one of the most powerful nations in Eastern Central Europe. This was during the later years of the Jagiellonian dynasty, which lasted from 1386 to 1572, as Poland and Lithuania were one united force. This dynasty was made up of a family of monarchs from Poland, Lithuania, seeing as they was one force, they did a little combination of name there, Bohemia, and Hungary. Hungary, the same people who ended those invasions earlier, right? Ah, but then my guy, the first, came in there, put his little stamp on it as he's the first, and said, nah, we're going to be all united together. Down the line, you get these empires, get these dynasties set up, everything like that, little bloodlines, keep it all unified. Okay, okay. That's I see where we're going here. With the death of his leadership and no heirs left behind to take over, the collapse of their dynasty hit in 1972. And just like Norway, Poland started to see the first signs of its decline. With the partitions of Poland, which went on for 2.5 centuries, two, two and a half, from 1772 to 1918, 2.5 centuries, you had internal conflict in your country. Yeah. So what? 200 years ago, we saw a decline, and 200 years later, for 2.5 centuries later, we get conflict. During this 2.5 centuries is when Poland truly had its downfall, with the rise of Russia, Prussia, and Austria, who start to cement themselves as dominant forces in Eastern Europe. Quite similar to how Denmark and Sweden did when they were right there next to Norway as they rose to power. On May 3rd, 1791, the first modern written constitution in Europe was created. This was a byproduct of the Russo Turkish War going on at the same time as the French Revolution. Funny enough, ideals of the French and American revolutions were incorporated into this constitution. So it's almost saying war and revolution is what caused a need for structure, but also the ideals of a revolution help create a structure. Okay, I could see the I want to say irony within that. Back in May of 2022, President Duda stated that only Ukraine has the right to decide about its future. Only Ukraine has the right to decide for itself. Now, being a country who's no stranger to war, who's no stranger to being conquered and occupied, I can see why their president made these statements about the Russian Ukrainian war. I can see why he made these statements to the European Union. And funny how he was, and as of I know right now in July, the only president to actually go to Ukraine himself, not visit nearby country and say, "Hey, what's going on? We're with you guys." I'm not gonna enter your country, but I'm just gonna say, "Hey, what's up?" Or we're gonna Skype, we're gonna Zoom, we're gonna use Microsoft Teams, we're gonna use any type of means to communicate with you, but I'm not gonna come there directly. The only one who has, I'm gonna say it, the guts to be a leader and say, "Fuck this, I'm going over to that country. Some shit pop off, you know what's up? We gonna get it. We're gonna get into it." But I believe with what Ukraine's doing, I stand with them. Like the way he handled that, I'm like, bro, he let it be known we about that action. Hey man, Poland is no strangers to war. I mean, from invasions by the Germs and the Bolts to the Mongols to being under the thumb of Russian rule in the early 1800s after Napoleon's defeat, because Poland was one of the last countries that actually stood by his side to the end, resulting in them paying the cost of his defeat, to the more recent Nazi Germany occupation, which led to the events of the Holocaust, followed by a post World War II USSR controlled Poland. All they know is independence is life. Freedom is life. To be under that much conflict for that long, to be occupied, ruled, and dictated to finally having that freedom, I'm I'm surprised that the national anthem is an independence, is life. It's why I can understand their national anthem is Poland is not yet lost. Because they some fighters. Plain and simple. Unlike Norway, Poland's mountainous regions are to its south, and the low flatlands are to the north. Being a nation bordered by seven others, three types of air masses, subtropical in the south, oceanic in the west, and Arctic cool coming from the north, considered to technically have six, not four weather seasons due to the variations of those air masses. And a quarter of your country is forest filled with deer, pigs, elk, and bison. It's no wonder why they are a key target for invasion when trying to expand in Eastern and Central Europe. Not to mention, they are well endowed with natural resources like coal, petroleum, and natural gas deposits. It's these reasons why Eric Klauskowski said all employees at his utilities plant should be prepared. They need to prepare themselves. He has decided to expand corporate training to self defense come this fall. Seems like the countries that don't normally use guns are seeing their benefits. Since the start of the war, Eastern European countries like Poland have started to adapt a domestic military or people's army in the event this thing escalates. So they're all basically saying, hey, should Ukraine actually fall? Should Russia actually take it to the next level on them? They might just try to keep moving east and actually hit somebody else, or they actually might just stop, recoup, and just play like, oh no, we want to with Ukraine. No, we good. No, we good. Hey, go get that motherfucker. Go get them. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go run up on all of them. Belarus, you with us, right? Yeah, we with you, Russia. We with you. Alright, you with us? We got Ukraine. Poland's right here now. We might go hit them up. Hold on, you want to hit Slovakia? Slovakia? Yeah, Slovakia. Let's go hit them. You right there too. So we could do a pincer effect. Yep, get them. Go get them, and then we'll come up into Poland. We'll hit them, and then we'll make our way back down to the Czech Republic, and then we're gonna come to Germany and go, "What's up? Remember World War II? Well, we back." So you want a domestic military because you see how good things are going in Ukraine with them. Okay, I see where Poland's going with that. We need to make sure our people are well prepared. Which then has me think of a well regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, I personally believe that half of the US Second Amendment would be accepted by these countries if it meant keeping Russia at bay. A well regulated militia? Hmm. Uh, what did Ukraine do as soon as Russia started coming up in there? Psh, yo, women and children got to go. All guys, what was it, 18 to 54, I believe? When he was 18 to 54 years old, y'all got to stay. Yo, let's go tool up, get them guns. Hey, we need guns. Get all guns from the military. Hey, people got to sign up. Let's go. Let's go. We got to fight for our country. We got to defend. All right, boom. We're going to do some self-defense training courses in this school that's abandoned now, in this facility. Yeah, now you're training people to defend themselves against an invading force. Now, I'm sure most of these countries, being a part of the European Union, would not accept to keep and bear arms. I get that. I get they want some give and take. Okay. to train the people and have them be well regulated. Oh, after this, a lot of people will be. Now, the right to bear arms, though, and to keep and bear arms, I'm sure that's going to be a that's where it's going to be up for a debate right there. It's been 14 years since Poland removed the ability to draft citizens into the military, but now some form, yeah, some form of army conscription is being called for. So the people technically don't want to be drafted into the military, but they would appreciate the ability to have that training for themselves without having the obligation to actually serve in the military. That's how I'm going to take it if it said they want some form of it. But with so many people actually signing up to survivalist classes, applying for gun permits, going to shooting ranges, enlisting within Poland and neighboring countries, it almost makes you go, you know what? You guys don't even want some form. What you kind of going to lean toward is having what Norway and Israel has. So not necessarily going to be drafted. You're just going to have a minimum time served. That's it. Done. That I can understand. I truly can understand that, and I can see the benefit of it. What is becoming known as a call to arms to its civilians is a real wake up call. Come to September, students 13 and up are slated for limited weapons training. Now, the article I read stated students as young as 13. And for me, there lies the problem. By saying as young as 13, it is hitting me with the California governor with his whole thing of they're marketing guns to kids and it's wrong. But then the attached story to it is basically the fact that there's kids doing shooting competitions. Now, with that, I would say as young as 6. Why as young as 6? Simple, because as young as 6 years old, they're learning to respect the weapon. They're learning to respect the tool that will be utilized as a weapon for their defense and the ones they love. You have shooting competitions with them on a range with instructors, their trainers, their parents, in a controlled environment. Well, what are they shooting? 22 caliber, the baby round. That is literally your step up from a BB gun. Whether it's a spring powered, green gas, or CO2 powered plastic or metal BB, that is literally your introduction to actual gunpowder ammunition. Hell, they're even shooting 9 millimeters. So you mean tell me you have a that little girl right there is shooting a 9 millimeter semi-automatic handgun? Yeah, she that 9-year-old is shooting a 9. And she's still breathing. She didn't blow her lungs out. Holy shit, Biden. I guess she was wrong. Look, I'm a registered Democrat, so I'm gonna talk my shit about Biden if I choose to. I'll throw some political shit there. I'm gonna talk that shit. But when you say you have students as young as 13. No, you want to switch it the other way around as 13 and up. Why 13 and up? Terminology matters. When you have 18 to 54, you're not saying from 54 to 18 going down. No, you're saying at the age of 18, you're a man, boom, you're staying behind. By saying age 13, for me, that's going back to some biblical times right there. That's almost along the lines of, isn't it what Jewish people, if by 13 you should be, that's around that was the maturity rate when puberty would hit and you'd be considered a man. And now it's time to go. Don't remember the right terminology, but I would say take your vows as a man to read from the Torah and do that whole thing. So it's not as young as 13. It's from the ages of 13 and up. To have these kids have training in a controlled environment makes sense. Just like the school in Chicago that has students in the, oh god, I want to say fourth grade. They're as young as 9, 8 and 9. And they were like, well, we've seen a handgun before in our life. We've seen gunshot. We've had family members die. You have a school across the street from a funeral home. And they instituted a program where a retired instructor, a retired police officer, he wasn't military, retired police officer. No, he's not police. He's retired military. Is he is an instructor and he's teaching the kids about proper gun use for them to respect it, for them to not have that anger in those urban communities in their heart to want to grab the gun and go get revenge and pull that trigger, but to understand what that really means to pull that trigger. They're training them in the UK, over here in Poland, and neighboring countries in Eastern Europe to prepare themselves in case of invasion, to take survivalist classes, to be more prepared for life. Because shit happens in life. Yeah. With 2.51 firearms per 100,000 people in Poland, they are the least. I'm being. Oh my god! It really got me. It really got me. They are the country in Europe who is the least prepared for invasion as far as civilians because they have the lowest firearm ownership in Europe. 2.51 to 100,000 people. Let's just round that up, please. It's over four. Is at the five? Okay. We have 3 firearms per every 100,000 people. And France is 19.61. So we're going to round it up. It's 20. And in the United States, it's 121. You can say whatever you want about how crazy those numbers are for the US. But I guarantee that if we went down to 100 and gave that additional 20 to the people of Poland, no one would be complaining about having more guns for self defense. Let's just keep it real there. I'll be honest, those numbers right there for Poland shocked me. Because when I think about Poland, I literally think hard body motherfuckers. I think they bout that action. That's what comes to mind. These numbers, no disrespect. No disrespect whatsoever to Poland. But that had me go, dang, y'all the soft ones. Like those numbers, I would have expected from countries like Sweden, Austria, some countries, some crazy countries like Switzerland. But then after this, oh well, Sweden was banging on Norway, and Austria came through, and they was banging on Poland. Well, shows how educated this American is on foreign history. I'm learning now. I mean, come on, people. The US and Poland have agreed to have a US military base on Polish soil to aid in its protection in the war. In the event that said war stretches to their doorstep. Funny enough, the plans were to have a military base on Polish soil back when Trump was in office, and they was going to actually call it Fort Trump. Never happened while he's in office though. So Biden might just turn around and say, "Hey, Trump, guess what I did? Fort Biden." Now that'll actually be a good laugh. That one I can actually laugh at. So according to Prime Minister Morawiecki, I do hope I pronounced that right. There is no going back under the boot of Russia. Hmm. So earlier when I said under the thumb, I guess I should have actually said under the boot. You know, somebody says, "Oh, you're under their thumb, you're under their fingers." It's a little. Maybe I was thinking of like an office mindset. A work environment. You're under their thumb. When somebody says you're under the boot, you're under their heels. That's when stuff gets a little more serious, a little more physical in terminology for me. So for him to say there's no going back under the boot of Russia, yeah, they're supplying Ukraine with weapons. The U.S. is supplying Ukraine weapons, but then Poland is actually coming out with their president and the defense ministers, and they're like, "Hey, we're supplying them. We're right here with them. We're getting ready. We're actually short on weapons, and we actually need some. Um, we need the West to supply us as well because our armor is going to get low." Wouldn't surprise me in the least bit if the U.S. end up in that same boat. What do I mean by that? I'm gonna have a rant in which I'm gonna go on. It's gonna be posted separately from this to save on time, as I do realize I get lengthy with these posts, these podcasts. I do get lengthy, so I'm gonna leave it at that, and I'm gonna just say I'm going to cover that in a little separate post later on. These are clearly people who value their freedom. These are clearly people who value their freedom and have lived in peace times, but are preparing themselves for war times. So if your neighboring country chose to invade, would your country be prepared, capable, or willing to fight back? Would you be prepared to fight for your independence? Food for thought. The second topic for today is going to be searching for the future. The Berlin, Germany based search engine, Ecosia, focuses on being CO2 negative, protecting the privacy of its users, and being fully transparent about its financials. Alright, for me, being a search engine, I look at it and I'm like, yeah, privacy is always going to have to be one of the main things you highlight. You got to highlight, A, we focus on your privacy. Now, when they said they're trying to be fully transparent about their financials, okay, we just went to a entirely different focus here. Like, okay. And then CO2 negative. CO2 negative. So you're trying to reduce your carbon footprint. Okay. Wow. That right there had me go, okay. You already had me with, privacy and transparency on financials. You also trying to be an eco-friendly search engine. All right. Well, let's see what else you're doing here then. Well, what else are they doing? They donate 80%. Okay, I don't even have to read any further at that point for somebody to hear me go, did he just say they donate 80%? Instantly, your mind jumps to, what? I know he ain't talking about their profit. He's talking about money. No, 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 no. He can't be. They donate 80% of their revenue to nonprofit organizations for the purpose of reforestation. Oh, you donate 80% of your revenue. Holy shit. 80%. That's you guys must be well funded. You have to have a well funded ship here. Like, the question is, how and why are they doing this? So let's start with the why. While on a year-long break in 2007 from his college studies, Christian Crowell, founder of Ecosia, and his predecessor, Forrester, was in Nepal, the country that's nestled within the Himalayas, bordering Tibet to the north and India to its east, south, and west. Yeah, that right there that says how big India is. Like, I feel like if India was to just expand their borders and just take two neighboring countries, at a certain point, you have to stop calling India a subcontinent and acknowledge it as the eighth continent. I'm like, bruh, you're bordered on your east, south, and west by this one country. And Tibet is to your north. If if India took out Nepal, look, I'm just saying. Let me rephrase that. If India, yeah, I don't think there's no way of phrasing that. Yeah, just gotta say, if they took over, that's the best I can do right there. Took over. Either way, they're claiming it. If India took Nepal and Tibet, yeah, they I think they should no longer be considered a subcontinent, and they should be qualified as a continent. I'll give them the eighth continent status for real. It was here where the first idea came to fruition. Why not create a search engine for the Nepalese people to use for the internet and finance development projects in the community via revenue generated from searches? I mean, that's how most people get that income in. Them searches, those clink, the be sitting there clicking on those little tabs there. Do 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 do. It's revenue generated. I get the concept of what he was thinking. You know, I see the potential in it. But, like with all startups, here comes the drawbacks. The drawback was that he was unable to set up a base of operations due to slow internet connectivity and only having access to electricity 4 hours each day. Yeah, 4 hours of electricity available to you. Well, there goes the internet and, revenue generated from searches when you only have 4 hours of electricity a day. So later that year, he decided to travel to South America, to the country with the finest silver mines in the world, Argentina. Fun fact, Argentina actually gets its name from the Latin word meaning silver, argentum. It is considered one of the countries with the best minerals in the world. Whilst there, he continued to study subjects involving globalization and sustainability, which led him to the effects of deforestation within the Amazon and Argentine rainforest. With agriculture, livestock, and building lumber, it's no wonder why we have the environmental issues that plague us today. One of the reasons I chose to state it in that manner is because I feel as though we've truly just overdone it. Like, the livestock, the constant tearing down forests to say, well, we got to build homes for people, we need this, we need that. It's always like, it'll come down to the concept of, well, we have to build homes. We have people out here that need places to live. And I look at it as a cop-out excuse. So when they say like, oh, well, we have to tear the forest down, we need to make land, make new land for for the civilization and the growth of people that's out there. We have plenty of land available for more than everybody that's available. More than for everybody that needs it right now. The truth is, it's not profitable. I mean, I can go to a laundromat near me and they literally have like 2 stores next to them that's open. Well, that's housing as far as I'm concerned. That could fit a family of 4 in each of them. It's like, what? I mean, come on, let's be honest here. You got people in New York that pay what kind of ridiculous prices for studio apartments and call it home, and they're happy to say, well, I live in New York. So to say that we have an issue with housing in this country, we don't have the land, or any country for that matter, truthfully, it's a cop-out excuse. Is we don't have enough profitable land to continue to make money, so we need to clear land to sprout more money trees. That's just how I look. That's how I look at it. It was after those revelations that he thought, why not give the search engine another go? And this time, integrate a way to help protect forests and plant trees. Originally known as Forester, the search engine began to take root. Pun was intended with that one right there. I'm like, okay, well, we talking about trees, environment, Forester. Gotta throw a tree joke in there. Gotta throw a joke in there. But Google, who had partnered with Kroll and Forrester, decided to cut ties, resulting in the need of a rebranding. Upon his return to Germany, he wanted to keep pushing forward with the idea, so a partnership with Yahoo was created. Thus, Ecosia was born. The name came from eco-friendly, eco, and the appeal of countries and themes of Fantasia, Malaysia. So, you got to see it. Made for a unique sounding name, as well as an easy way to secure a domain name. For some people that don't know, those domain names
do be a hassle to find. Now for the how. That revenue I talked about in the beginning, that revenue of 80%, 47.1% of it is income. Actually comes from advertising revenue, which is what they put towards the tree planting projects. In 2018, Christian and Ecosia co-owner Tim Schumacher. In 2018, Christian and Ecosia co-owner Tim Schumacher gave up the rights to take any profits or sell the company by donating part of their shares in the company to the Purpose Foundation. Now, if you say, "Oh, I'm all in," you want to prove that. I'm gonna need. It ain't no proving because you could turn around, finesse paperwork and everything. You could finesse it to make it look like, see, I told you how to prove it. No, I'm gonna need you to show and prove. This right here is show and prove. They gave up their rights to take any type of profit or sell the company by giving up their shares in the company. That's, that is, man. That's when somebody says, our mission is bigger than me. The mission is bigger than me or any single individual. We have a purpose, a goal, and it must be accomplished. That's what that says to me. Like, the only way that could get finessed is the two of them would most likely have to step away from the company in order for it to be sold. Now, in order to accomplish that, I would think if something like that happened, you would have a situation where a contract was set up like, hey, you guys step away from the company to allow us to buy it. As a result, we'll pay you, a portion of like thank you money. That's only I can think of some type of legal way to do that. Otherwise, damn, that's dedication to a cause. Now, a partnership with Microsoft has been extremely beneficial, as when an individual clicks on an ad when using the browser, Microsoft makes money, but Ecosia gets a large portion of the sales. So I click on the ad. Microsoft has an ad there for Microsoft.com. I click on it and I decide, hey, I'm going to buy me a Game of the Year edition Xbox with Elder Scrolls. You know what? I'm going to buy a Game of the Year edition Xbox with a new Call of Duty. Well, they got the revenue from me clicking that ad, but the profits of me buying that game, what, $400 maybe 500 because I want to get two of the same controllers to go along with it in the headset. Ecosia gets most of that money. So let's say it's 400. Most in my head means Ecosia gets 300. All right, it's 500. Okay, well they get $375 to $400. That's what goes through my head. So you go back to that revenue of 80%. 4.1 is the ad revenue, the clicks, this and that. Whew, that can add up very nicely. Since its launch in December of 2009, Ecosia has been on a roll, becoming a B Corporation certified company since April of 2014, working with organizations in 35 countries. Now the default search engine in European universities such as Leeds, Glasgow in the UK, and Freya, University Amsterdam in the Netherlands. You can see how that ad revenue just stacks. You are a default search browser for universities in Europe. Leeds in England, Glasgow in Scotland, and Freya in the Netherlands. Boy, research papers. Oh, I need these supplies. Oh, I'm about to go on a date. Let me get this stuff together. Now, in October of 2020, Ecosia bought a 20% stake in debit card company TreeCard. These guys, this company bought a 20% stake in a debit card company. You making moves. And I know it had to have been very generous pricing, seeing as it was 2020 when they bought their percentage. Oh, I know that private market was looking real good for them shares. Like, hey, these are the prices. Psh, I'm on one. Like, let's get it. We got 20% we could take. We can afford 20% on our budget. Let's go. In a partnership with MasterCard, a new all wooden card was released. Yes, you heard correctly. An all wooden card. Oh man, what are we about ours? We are about keeping this theme going. We need people to understand the cause. I'll touch on this a little more over on the Patreon, as it'll be a part of this week's bonus episode. To end this story off, Ecosia went 100% non-profit on June 9th, 2022. The funds will be used to plant native tree species worldwide. So now that 80% just went a little bit higher because they're nonprofit. So you got your ad revenue, you own some of TreeCard, you got this, you got that. Now you understand what I meant by searching for the future.